Hey guys, before we start, a quick shout out to Alpha Dog Nutrition for sponsoring this podcast. Alpha Dog products are now available at dusupply.com, and you can use code ALPHADOG15 at checkout for 15% off and a credit for free shipping to try it yourself. Now let's get you to your podcast.
This episode of Freecast, I have Bryson Parker from Georgia. We're going to be talking about some social media, trespassing with dogs, dog and tails, ethical hunting, and a whole lot more. We had huge problems with the internet on this one, so it's a shorty. If you want to watch any of the Freecasting podcasts, head over to YouTube and check out my channel, Anecdote of a Houndsman, where we go live almost every Wednesday talking about hounds, mules, and everything in between. Enjoy, guys. Well, who are you and where are you from?
Well, my name's Bryson Parker, and I'm actually live in North Georgia, but I'm right at the North Carolina state line.
Oh, gotcha. I told everybody North Carolina.
That's where I mostly hunt.
Yeah. So how's the public land hunting over there?
Right now, it's decent because there's nothing going on. Especially right now in Georgia and North Carolina, everything's pretty much shut down for training season.
Yeah. So training season, is that what are you not allowed to run bears right now, or is it just you're allowed to run them and not harvest them?
Yeah. So how do you describe it on your end? Is it's a chase season or whatever?
No, we don't. We have a hunting season. That's it. We don't have it. We've been trying to get a pursuit season, but they don't want to give it to us.
No,
good enough.
Basically get maybe about 4 months out of the year to run our dogs and get them in shape.
Yeah. I wish we had a pursuit. I wish even when the season closed, they would give us a pursuit. I think we're going to freeze up again. They don't give us nothing. It's once the season shuts down, we shut down. So,
yeah,
I don't see why we couldn't pursue after. I've been after them. I've emailed the commissioners before and seen if we could just get a pursuit season during the summer, because there's a lot of nuisance bears in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think a pursuit season in the summer would kind of help keep them out of the city a little bit more. They hear a dog bark, maybe they'll bail out.
It will. It definitely will. I've noticed it a lot. And I tell you another thing too, like with Georgia that we've been seeing. So in North Georgia, we can pursue just for training purposes only, but we cannot harvest over dogs. But we can harvest in private property on logging land in South Georgia, but you only get one tag, and it's 4 weekends out of the year, I do believe.
Yeah.
And from my experience, going from North Carolina, even all the way up towards the northern part of Tennessee and stuff like that, and hunting around, it's a world difference. You turn loose on a bear in North Carolina, it runs, and it'll stay away from people because they've had that pressure put on them so much. Georgia, it's just been one thing after another. They just want to run. They want to fight. They don't care. They'll stay around people's houses. I know about 4 weeks ago, I ran one for 4 hours straight, and they went over 9 miles. And all they did was once I finally got to them, I had to run into some lady's yard and catch them.
Yeah, they appreciated that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. But I mean, a lot of people are just uneducated on what the wildlife gets used to and what they'll actually do to you. Because a lot of times they get into the bird feeders and stuff like that. And once they realize that it's an easy food source for them, that's where they're going to go. And it makes my life difficult because it's going back to what we're going to talk about tonight is you deal with people that don't like hound hunting. And it's I told them, I was I don't want to be here. The only reason why I am here is because I'm trying to recover my dogs. I don't want to be in your yard for this situation, but there's a reason why he's here. It's either your bird feeders or whatever else. We don't want this confrontation. We just want to be able to go into the woods, have our fun, train our dogs, and go home.
Yep. That's it. And a lot of I'm not saying there's not houndsmen that don't go out and outlaw and give us a bad name, but
you get that with any outdoor sport. You get that with actually anything in general. I mean, it don't matter if you're a half-wit car salesman. Someone's going to give somebody a bad name at some point.
Exactly. And And it's hard, like I said, once they get that bad taste in their mouth, it's hard to get it out. It really is. So
It really is, yes. And the bad part about it is like we were going to talk about, like spot and stock people is just what we consider it. Just people that deer hunt, turkey hunt, or whatever else. A lot more of my friends actually hunt on the ground than they don't hunt with dogs. I know more people like that. And they've actually learned to gain respect for what we do, because I've constantly went in and had to run off nuisance bears, or if I've got pups and it's coon season, I'll take them in the train and do them a favor. If it's coon season or whatever, it's legal to harvest them or whatever. I mean, I try to help them because they don't want to be dealing with them all the time. And they realize when the bears come in, the deer don't want to come around. So we just try to help run them off. That way they stay away. Yeah.
Haze them out. I think. Go ahead.
No, yeah, that's it. Just haze them out and just keep that pressure on. So that way, when like even if he's sitting there in a stand or in his blind or whatever, if they can smell him, which I mean, most people know a bear can smell over 2 miles away.
Yep.
So I mean, once they get a whiff of you, I mean, they won't come around.
Yep. I think there was a like a TikTok or somewhere on YouTube, a short where the guy put one of those motion activated dummies, like Halloween thing that shakes. You seen that?
Yeah.
You know? I think people do that a little bit more often, maybe too. But I know a lot of that hazing does help, you know. But I've also seen them take those. They come back.
Yep.
So,
but I mean,
the internet's glitching tonight.
Well, no, you're good.
Up on you.
But like even like you was talking about hazing. So North Carolina, we have to run away,
and I've seen them come back. They're 100 miles.
Oh yeah. But I mean, even with that, I feel like conservation is another big role that has to be played into it, other than hazing, because that's what I mean. They're eventually just going to get used to the dogs at some point, and then they're not going to want to do anything about it. And then that's when people don't understand is that at that point it becomes a problem for the handlers, because we got bears that are just mean and they don't want to fight. And honestly, I don't want to fool with them all the time. I mean, I think it's at times you can't help it, because if you find a track, I mean, it's not like I can sit there and study it like a fingerprint and see which one it actually is. And so like here in my state, you can harvest a bear in the northern part only by bow or rifle on the ground. No dogs. I mean, we have a quota hunt, but it's only on WMAs, and you got to get drawn for it. But like with that being said, is that they get the pressure over there from people on the ground. But by the time they get the pressure, I mean, they've been harvested. So, but we have a lot of hikers and a lot of campers that come in. And what gets me about that is that they'll just walk right up to them and not care. And people don't realize that, I mean, they may go on and mind their own business, but it is still a wild animal. I mean, if they feel like taking you out, they will, because they don't have no repercussions. They can do as they want and as they please. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, hello, George.
You froze up on your. I think that's George Lambert Sr.
Senior? Okay.
Yep. He's always on here trying to cause some trouble.
Go ahead. We're used to it.
Real quick, off subject real quick. Why do people dock tails? Just curious. I just made a video about docking tails. I dock mine because I hunt a lot of rock and a lot of cactus. So I'll tell you what, them long tails, they'll whip them rocks and cut them open. They'll bleed everywhere. And then they get another cholla cactus. And it's a lot easier for me when they have a little bit shorter tail. So that's why I dock them. So
I know a lot of people will do it just because if like a mountain lion or something like that can get a hold of it, it's harder for them to get it off.
Yeah. Yeah, I do mine about just over half. Depends. Sometimes shorter. My 9-year-olds did it this time, so some of them, so they're good to go. I don't have to do it no more. Fish or hunt or run hounds, we have to stick together because the other side wants us all out of those. Oh, that's absolutely correct. I mean, if they can't get rid of they go after the hounds because I think the hounds are easy target. Most of your hound guys in the fall aren't going to go to a game and fish meeting because we're hunting. Most of your hound guys work because we're broke and dogs cost a lot. And a lot of those hunters, they like to just sit at home and cause trouble. They got time to go stand on the street and cause trouble. So that is right. And there's another side to all this is social media. We have enough problems just in the woods between hunters, but when you bring it to social media, and I'm a little guilty of it. There was a bear harvested one time, and it wasn't the harvest. It was the way it fell out of the tree and bounced, and they shot it on camera. They didn't have to do all that. And I mentioned something about it, and the guy tried to get on me about one of my videos where I chased a cub up a tree. But the cub, it wasn't. To me, it was a cub. My version of a cub is under 100 pounds. I wouldn't shoot it'd have to be, the guy that was trying to get on the night, he shot a small bear for a 15-year-old kid. It was a small bear, and he admits it's a small bear, but this is a 15-year-old cancer kid that he may only have a couple more years. So when they say they want that bear, and it might be the only chance in their whole life that they get that bear, there are some exceptions. Are you proud of it? Probably not. You know what I mean? Like, you do what you have to do, but the first female I killed was for a girl in a wheelchair, and we had to wheel her in 80 yards on Malapai. That wasn't too fun. And she wasn't a hunter, but she shot that bear, and that bear came out so bad. It didn't just fall. It had to hit every branch type of fall. She loved doing it. Said, I don't think I'd kill a bear again if it fell like that. But then 10 minutes later, she goes, are we going to go get a lion now? It didn't stop her. But I didn't put it on the internet. There's just ways. There's ways to be cordial about what you put on the internet. They could have edited that a little bit better. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, in my opinion. And it's kind of like those whitetail videos and stuff like that when you watch. And now they got to the point where everybody wants to censor everything, which is fine. I don't see a problem with it. If someone's not for it, in my opinion, if you don't like it or understand it, don't watch it. It's not for you. But at the same time, like you saying, they want to go after us. And if they were to go after us because of something like that, because we are there, we can actually study the animal. We can tell the sex of it. We can tell how big it is, and we can do what we need to do. And sometimes you don't get the best shot. It just happens. And we are fairly close, but we're having to shoot up. Mm-hmm. But at the time, our biggest concern is if you are going to take that animal, you're taking, it's going to die. Just plain and simple. It's just, how is it? But see, that stuff is more seen than shooting a deer and watching it run off, and you don't see it gargling its last breath.
Nope.
In my opinion, what we do is a lot more humane, because we want it dead and gone before it hits the ground. And going back to like what that last guy was saying about, we all need to stick together. And I hope a lot of people hear this. What they're going to take from us, they're going to take from you. You're talking about more people that deer hunt than even think about going hunting with hounds. When they take that away from me and take that away from my dogs, think about what they're going to take away from you and your children from deer hunting or turkey hunting or whatever it is it may be. They're slowly going to decay everything that we know and that what we love to do. Don't get me wrong. I was a diehard deer hunter when I was in middle school. I absolutely loved it. I would sit out there in 10-degree weather and freeze to death with a rifle. And it's just what I like to do. And I understand the dedication to it. But when people need to understand the more dedication we put into these dogs, and when you take that away, because it is going to be easier, because like you're saying, people's going to put this stuff on social media that does not need to be on there. Even whenever I post stuff, I try to make sure it's just as good as possible. I don't want no bad comments. I don't want no bad hate, no nothing. And I understand that there's going to be times where it's not going to go well. You can get on YouTube and people are so fascinated with like these deer blood trailing dogs. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you're like, wow. And you're so focused on what the dog can do. What you're not paying attention to is that animal's now been shot. And now they're having to track it down and finish it. And but see, something like that will be okay. But if we do something that's completely normal to us, and it has been for over hundreds of years now, it's a problem. Yeah. It's just like when you can point a finger, but you forget about them three that are pointing right back at you.
Yep. hard to it's hard to keep them in focus of that. I think with the blood trailing dogs, you're at least retrieving something, so you're doing something good with it. Not that you shot the deer in the leg and it ran 3 miles. You're right. It's on how great the dog's doing.
Yeah, and I ain't got nothing against those videos. I mean, I understand the situation. There's reasons for that, which I mean, like, all these dogs have a purpose in life, in my opinion. But I just don't understand how 1 second it's like I can go out and treat a bear, and then someone could come up to me and be like, you should leave them alone. It's like, okay, well, I mean, why are you picking on me? I mean, this is just the way this is. I mean, I'm not doing any harm. I mostly just tree and free. I go on about my business.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like I was saying, when they take that away from us, then all them people that sit there and bother us to death about all this stuff, they're going to come straight to the elk hunters, deer hunters, turkey hunters, and all of them. So, I mean, it's just a vicious cycle that's just going to keep going until it's all completely gone. And that's the one thing that we don't want. I mean, I don't want deer hunting took away, and I don't even deer hunt no more. I mean, I spend every time I can in the woods with just my dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want my heritage took, because then they're going to come for yours.
Yep. Well, once they're done with ours, and I think we're glitching out again. I don't know what's going on tonight. This internet's horrible tonight. Horrible. I don't know. On my side, it's like going in and out. I don't know what it looks like on your side.
Pretty decent.
But once they get rid of hounds, then they're going to go after deer hunting, archery, and then they'll just keep chipping away. Death by 1,000 cuts.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's going to be.
It'll never end until it's all gone.
Mm-hmm. And then, Johnny, this generation are such little, that they know. It's funny, everything gets them but hurt and offends them. And that's right, because they're not being raised anymore like in the 70s where everybody hunted, where you had deer rifles in your truck and that's what you did after school. Everybody's on a screen. They were saying 70% of males don't have a job because of screen time. They're busy on their computers and games and iPods and TikTok and all that fun stuff, I guess.
Whole exciting world out there if you just look up about 6 inches and you'll be just fine.
Yep, that's a fact. What's crazy is you got all the knowledge to do something at your fingertips, but instead of being on TikTok for 3-4 hours, learn something.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, another thing that I've noticed with people is that
they're
do what? I think you froze on me, bud. Go ahead. What you saying?
Side. Oh, it froze up on my side for a second. Man, this internet's bugging me tonight. So it's like the worst one I've had. I don't know if it's my side or just not putting out. But yeah, so I got, like you said, so all I got to do is look up. And these kids are being raised to stay in the house all day, and it's a good babysitter.
Yep.
Your phone and your iPads are good babysitters, but you got to get them out, because those are the guys that go camping in those big 3-axle trailers and get mad when your dogs run through their camp. And, they got all their generators and trailers, and they got all their video games out camping in the woods. And that's the people who get mad. That's the people who get mad when they're out messing around. And then I think I seen a comment up there where it said a lot of your deer hunters are city slickers. And I get it. You got to work, and then they get out. And I treated that one little bear that one time, and some deer hunters came up to us, and they would have shot that bear. Like, they wanted to shoot that bear. I said, you don't want to shoot that bear. The bear looked like a German shepherd up there. The ears were so big. You know what I mean? I said, that's a small bear. I said, to you guys, it looks like a big bear. I said, if that was a big bear, I'd let you shoot it. But you don't want that bear. But if you're sitting, like I said, you're sitting in a stand and the bear runs by, that thing looks 300 pounds, till you shoot it. And you're like, oh, the bear wasn't that big.
And that's one of the things, too, like, that I really like about hunting with dogs, is that once it's up in a tree, you can actually sit there and take as much time as you need to just to study that animal. And you can see everywhere it's ran, if it's going back and forth over itself or trying to go back where it come from. And people that's been around it long enough can tell if that's a sow with cubs, or just by looking at her up in the tree, or if it's a boar that's just been roaming around by himself or whatever. I mean, that's just one of the perks to it. I mean, you can make a really good decision. And it's kind of like, I guess, if you got like a CDL driver's license compared to a normal driver's license, if you get caught speeding and not using a blinker and they pull you over and they see you have a CDL, there is zero excuse.
Oh, yeah, on the phone?
It is. There is zero excuse for that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you should have been to the point to where you've seen so many, it shouldn't matter. Like, you should be able to tell instantly before you even get to the tree how that thing is run. You can about tell if it's a sow or if it's a boar.
Oh, yeah. 9 times out of 10, when you walk up, I walked up to a tree one time. I said, "Oh, that's a boar." And the guy was with us said, "No, man, that's a sow. I seen it pee out of its butt." I said, "Man, are you serious? That looks like a boar, like that head." I mean, as soon as I seen the head, I said, "No, it's a boar." He said, "No." I'm like, "Man, are you sure?" "No, man, I seen it pee, and it peed out of his butt. Like, it's." I sat there for 30 minutes. I got my binoculars out. And he was up there a little ways, and that bear walking around that tree, and he put his legs, he separated them legs, one on each limb. And I seen them balls, and I said, "I told you that." The guy with us, he was all kind of like, "Oh, man," because I don't like shooting sows. I said, "Nah, it's not." If it was a 400-pounder that looked old and some gray, yeah. But I said, "That's a boar." And that old guy had got his 32 Craig out, and he was ready to go. So it wasn't no 300-pounder, but it was pushing over 200. Nice little boar, blocky head. But I knew right away. There's only been a few times that I've walked up on a tree, and I mistaked it. It was a big blocky head, and the butt was a little big. I'm like, "Oh, God, that boar got kind of a big butt." But it was sitting on a branch, real fat bear. And I seen the balls. I had my rangefinder out. I'm like, "Man, that set of balls right there." I told that guy, "Let's shoot that. You can shoot. That's a good bear." Like with every archery hunter I get, I tell them, "You're going to miss." I won't miss. I hit a pie plate at 1,000 yards. "Oh, you're going to miss." 100 yards. I can shoot 100. All right. And I swear every one of them hit that tree. And I say, my famous line is, "You going to tag that tree or are you going to get the bear? Which one are we doing today?" Because they get nervous. They're up, that angle really messes people up.
Yep.
Bow hunters don't shoot up in a tree. And
the trajectory changes, and then you got to account for all the limbs and everything else. It's completely different.
Mm-hmm. And the second shot, he whacked her jugular, and she peed out of her butt. And I said, "Oh, dang, that's a female." It fooled me. She weighed almost 300 pounds, big, but she was so fat. When she stepped on that limb, her fat had rolled up. It looked like a set of balls hanging off there. I really thought it was, And then once we got her down, she had a little bit pointy nose. And like, man, she has a big blocky head of that nose. I don't know. It fooled me. I ain't no expert, but it fooled me. I probably would have let her live. She was younger. So.
Well, I mean, even I get fooled. But like I said, when you get sit there underneath the tree, you can actually take your time to look. Just like that. I don't know if you ever got that video I sent you Saturday or Sunday.
I've been trying to download it. It will not download on my phone. I thought it was bad service, and I just tried to download it again, and it still won't download. I don't know why.
I don't have a clue why it would do that.
I don't know. I'm not the smartest guy when it comes to phones and computers. You can tell that already. What's the biggest and memorable bear hunt y'all have had? Man, I think the biggest bear I've ever treed was a female, fat. And I had a lady who had one leg with me. She had lost her foot. And she hiked all the way up this trail. And it wasn't old enough. It just wasn't an old enough sow that I wanted to let her kill it. And I probably should have, because she made the trek up that hill, and, with her prosthetic. I had a couple bear hunters that were just spot and stalk and come up, and they would have shot it in 2 seconds. And I didn't let her take it. And I really kind of regret it, because there was a guide from out of state that killed a bunch of sows that year. And I was like, I don't want to turn out like that. I don't want to be that guy who says, "You know what, but shut that season down." But you shut a season down, it's just more bears for next year, I guess. I don't know. I try not to act that way, but it's hard when you got these guides coming in here from other states, whacking everything. They got 10 guys running around with their dogs. I seen a guy, we treed with a guy, and it was a little bear. That thing hadn't been 175, maybe. I don't even think it was 175, 180. And he let that guy kill it. And he charged him for that bear. And I was like, God, it was a boar, but it's a little bear. It would have been a good blocky bear in another year or two. I guess that's the difference between I'm a guide, I don't take a lot of people out, clients, for my investigator business. But
I'm not
that's
gonna
what
lie.
happens, and that's what causes the fights.
Go ahead.
I think he froze up on me that time.
Yeah, you were chopping in and out.
I was saying that
I don't know if anybody else heard you. I didn't hear you.
I was saying that guiding is rough because I've done it, and it's nerve-wracking because everybody wants to harvest a monster. But, I mean, it's just, you got to understand, I mean, there's no telling where the monster is. I mean, the whole point is just to find it.
Yeah.
You got to work so hard to do it. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is like, well, when you're spending anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 on a hunt, I mean, we're putting in a lot of work for you, especially if it's a 5-day hunt. Not just on us, it's our dogs. Because we may turn loose 4 times and they are just busted. And the biggest thing you may see is 150 pounds. I mean, that's just the chance you take. That's why they call it hunting. I mean, you can sit there all day long in a deer stand and know that you've got a monster buck coming in somewhere and never see it all season.
Yeah. It's tough, and then you kind of lose the fun of it. And then those guys that are just in it for the money, they got all their minions out there, and they'll let the people shoot those 150-pound bears for that $2,000. And a lot of those people don't know what a big bear is.
No.
I see them post on the internet, my first bear, and I'm like, kind of small. I don't say nothing because, and they had a guide. There's some good guides out there, but in Arizona, you can hunt August, and then September is archery. So you only get, let's just say it stays open. You only get, 4 or 5 months to hunt, but you're paying for that dog food the whole year, like gas, and just trying to find the food source and running your dogs.
Mm-hmm.
That $2,000-$3,000 for the weekend, that gets ate up pretty quick.
Yeah, and that was another thing too, is that one dude wanted to kind of argue with me on the price, and I was like, listen, this is what it is. I mean, you don't understand, like, I'm feeding you, I'm hauling you around, I'm providing everything. If you think I'm about to come out with anything, you are wrong because I'm not getting much.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, because like you said, it's worse than a full-time job, and it's hard. And you want to do right by them. And it's very, very difficult to do that. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you do have, like, say, a 200-pounder and they're expecting to get something over 500 pounds, which is very rare sometimes, but it's like, look, he is more than legal. If you want to shoot it, it is completely up to you. I mean, there's no reason that you're going to get in trouble for shooting this bear. That's just my opinion. It's all up to them at that point because we've been working all week trying to get you on a decent one. I mean, when it comes time to pull the trigger, it's completely up to you.
You want a big-eared bear? There you go. There's the one for you. So.
Big ears, little head, long legs.
Yep. Well, Bryson, man, I appreciate you coming on, telling us all your stories.
I appreciate it.
Sorry the internet's so crappy. I don't know what's going on.
Nah, it ain't no big one.
So maybe next time we'll have some better internet. So
yeah.
So if I will probably be on next week talking some more trash. I mainly just want to talk about, it's just hunters it's always said over and over again, hunters are our worst enemy. We fight against each other. It's Starlink. Oh, Corinne has Starlink. Maybe hers is messing up too. I don't know. I pay a lot of money for that internet, and it's not making me happy right now. Usually I got really fast internet, but I'm also out in an office trailer, so I might have to run an Ethernet cord to my over here, plug it in. So yeah, but appreciate you coming on. I appreciate everybody coming on. I think we're going to jump off here just because the internet's killing us and everybody's starting to drop off, probably because we're freezing up on their side. The microphone messed up in the beginning. I'm glad to finally get you on.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get you on again, talk about some other stuff. But what's anything going on over there in Georgia, North Carolina? Any housing stuff going on?
Here. Training season's about to end in Georgia. It's still going in North Carolina. I do know here in Georgia, they still have yet to open us a hound season. I just tried getting a really short one and changed the tag numbers from 2 to 1. And I ain't got no money in our political pool, so I can't get nothing done.
No.
I know North Carolina is extending their season, And judging by the last meeting, they want us to shoot more sows. And I was not happy with that meeting at all, because I at that point I was like, I'm really debating on not getting another license there, because I mean, if we ain't got nothing to pursue, I mean, then what's the point in even paying that money?
Yep. I think that's just kind of happening everywhere. It's like a guessing game. It's like, what are you guys doing? Just throwing a handful of answers and then just drawing one out of the hat and saying more sows. I mean, where they come up with this stuff makes you wonder. So.
There's an agenda behind it. Theirs is more or less for deer, pretty much. They said they just wanted to plateau the population, but I think that what they're trying to do is thin out on the number of bears so that way the deers can live longer. Because I've even got a neighbor right down here. He had one. Said it wasn't too sure, but it looks like claw marks and bite marks on the back of a fawn. And he said that it was not going to make it. And he said that he's even got like a bear that's being a nuisance and is coming around his house. And it won't leave him alone. He said he's tried running it off and it will just keep coming back.
Hey, some of them nuisance bears, they won't. No matter how far you take them, they always come back. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate everybody dealing with no mics. And my mic kept shutting off. It could just be this StreamYard I'm on too. It may have a glitch in it. But I appreciate everybody for hanging in there with us. And I will get you on again.
Yes, sir. Can't wait to get back.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
All right, but we'll see.
All right.